Globes. A lot of time you are politically incorrect and hilarious, of course.
Thank you.
And so,
Thank you.
so this is,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, well, that's the thing about offence, isn't it? When people say they're offended, it's that just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right. You know, it's offence is about feelings, and feelings are personal. Some people are offended by equality. So what? You know, so you can't second guess people. If you try and please everyone, you'll please no one. With comedy as well, I think you've got to deal with taboos and contentious issues, and sometimes you deal in irony, and some people don't get that, but you know, you can't legislate against stupidity, otherwise you'll be doing nothing. So if you're saying anything...
What happens when you trap Ricky Gervais in a room with a hot mic, Hollywood's paper-thin pride, and Whoopi Goldberg armed with a woke word arsenal? You don't get a comedy set, you get a live detonation. It's brutal. It's glorious. It's the kind of cultural wreckage that makes a celebrity feud look like snack time, and you won't want to miss a second. Every gasp, every awkward chuckle, every sip of regret caught in real time, because this wasn't a takedown. It was a broadcasted breakdown of the Hollywood illusion. And Ricky, he lit the fuse and laughed through the fire. Think it ends there? Oh no, it gets uglier, and somehow even funnier.
Another theme of the show has been words change and I'm woke, haha. But here's the irony. I think I am woke, but I think that word has changed. I think if woke still means what it used to mean, that you're aware of your own privilege, you try and maximise equality, minimise oppression, be anti-racist, anti-sexist, anti-homophobic, yes, I'm definitely woke. If woke now means being a puritanical, authoritarian bully who gets people fired for an honest opinion or even a fact, then no, I'm not woke. F*** that.
To truly grasp the chaos that unfolded, you need to understand one thing. Ricky Gervais was never built for hugs, hashtags, or Hollywood handshakes. This man isn't chasing awards. He's dismantling illusions. He built his legacy by saying what everyone whispers, but no one dares post. While others bow to cancel culture, Ricky confronts it head on. He doesn't punch up or down. He punches through the fake smiles, throws the mic at you, and dares you to laugh.
Well, I am woke now, and I can prove it. Here you go. I love illegal immigrants. Yeah, sue me now. Sometimes I go down to Dover for the day, right? And I look out, right, and look for a boat, and I see a dinghy with about 60 of them, and I go over here, like, right? And I pull them into shore, and I go, women and children first. They go, there are no women and children. Just you lads, is it? Just come on, lads. Come on, lads. If I go down there one day and there's no boat, I am absolutely fucking gutted.
This is the same man who took the Golden Globe stage and roasted the entire A-list elite like he'd been holding a grudge for decades. Apple, Amazon, actors cosplaying as activists. He didn't flinch. He dragged them all on a silver platter of savage truth. Show up with a straight face and a woke script. Ricky shows up swinging. Beer in hand, mic in the other, zero apologies. And then there's Whoopi Goldberg, Hollywood legend turned talk show judge, sitting high on The View, dishing out opinions like fortune cookies.
Oh, I don't think that you lose your sensuality or your beauty because you hit 53. I'm saying, why are they hiding it?
Oh, I see. Do you think that when you have to explain the joke that maybe it wasn't told, that because people didn't get it, or you think that most people got it?
I'm defending my motives, not the joke. I stand by the joke. Yeah. I don't think I have anything to apologise for, but that's not the joke. I think if you're going to criticise, you've got to understand the joke before you can.
Okay, how about this one?
Recently, she's been firing off woke talking points like she's on a mission for Twitter validation. From defending cancel culture in the name of accountability to lecturing people on what jokes are allowed, Whoopi's seat on the View has become a TED Talk in disguise, serving moral superiority between commercial breaks, but one moment exploded online. A now viral segment where Whoopi and the panel claimed comedians need to adapt, that maybe comedy should stop being about laughs and start being about feelings. Because now, apparently, a joke is only funny if it survives the sacred trial of social sensitivity.
Because it's such a privilege, and freedom of speech is so important these days. And you've got to, and I've reached the age now where I don't care anymore. You know what I mean? It's like,
Welcome aboard,
what's the worst that can happen?
Welcome aboard.
I'm going to die soon.
Yeah.
So I'm offended. I'm going to die. So what? You know, so...
You made enough money at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to
And,
care.
you know, I'm going to give that to animals anyway, just to see the
Are you?
look on my
Oh, yeah,
stupid
the
family's face. Give it all to animals.
That's when everything changed. The comedy gods didn't just cringe. They sharpened their pitchforks, because when you hand Ricky Gervais a live mic, in a room dripping with hypocrisy, you don't get jokes, you get annihilation. Imagine giving a blowtorch to a man who's watched Hollywood tiptoe for 2 decades, then daring him not to use it. He didn't hesitate. He aimed it straight at the mountain of fake virtue and lit the whole thing up. Ricky didn't smile. He grinned, like a man about to burn the rulebook and rewrite the ending. Before anyone could reach for the mute button, he dropped the first bomb. Not a punchline, a verbal execution. It was brutal. 3 studio lights might have quit on the spot. This wasn't a roast. It was a reckoning. Woke culture got dragged into the spotlight and evaporated faster than a vampire on a sunbed. Whoopi? Frozen. Her soul buffering live on air, Ricky tore through the charade with surgical rage and the subtlety of a chainsaw at a silent retreat. The crowd? Paralyzed, half confused, half panicked, all exposed. And now, do they dare ever give him the mic again?
It's nice to look back and it's a celebration. I talk about my mum and dad and who aren't with us anymore, and jokes about the mum and mum's funeral, you know, because that's what I think that's what humor's for. It gets us over bad stuff. So it's a sin not to joke about all the bad things. That's a waste, because that's exactly what we.
One intern reportedly tried to hide under a fake plant. We're still scanning the CCTV. But one thing's certain, Ricky didn't flinch. This man could roast Santa on Christmas Eve and still walk out with a mic drop and elves applauding. He didn't poke the bear. He skinned it, grilled it medium rare, and made Whoopi come back for seconds. Each word drenched in venom, aged in irony, served ice cold with that look that says, I already got paid. Fire me. I dare you. Let's be real. This wasn't dialogue. This was destruction. One man, one mic, and punchlines flying faster than brands backtracking after Twitter meltdowns. And no, he wasn't targeting Whoopi. He was gunning for the machine. The entire performance parade, the one that cancels cartoons, gives pronouns to lattes, and writes Instagram essays longer than the Constitution about their gluten-free heartbreak. This wasn't just comedy. It was a reckoning. And now the question isn't, was it too far? It's,
Arrogant are you to think that you deserve to go through life with no one ever saying anything that you don't agree with or like? I want people to stop saying that joke's offensive.
Yeah.
I want them to start saying I found it offensive, because that's all it is. You're just telling me how you feel about it.
Yeah.
There's nothing intrinsically offensive about this joke. You don't have to pave the jungle.
Yeah.
You can just grow a pair and have a laugh about it. Yeah, but you shouldn't hurt people's feelings. Well, you can if their feelings are wrong.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't like the facts, don't change the facts, change the feelings.
Yeah.
he didn't just roast the sacred cow of sensitivity, he slaughtered it. And honestly, it had it coming. Somewhere along the way, humor was hijacked, kidnapped by an army armed with hashtags and recycled tweets. But Ricky, he didn't pay. The ransom. By the time he finished his second monologue, yes, second, the tension in that room, it was so thick you could slice it with a knife. The co-hosts, their faces said it all. Did he just say that? Please tell me this is some kind of simulation. Whoopi, bless her heart, was still blinking in Morse code, trying to gather herself, but Ricky had already ripped through the stage like a storm. Her attempt at a comeback, let's just say, it hit with all the force of a wet noodle. Trying to outwit Ricky on live TV? It's like trying to box with fog. You just end up exhausted, confused, and very, very drenched. Meanwhile, Ricky, leaning back, hands folded, probably wondering what shade his next cancellation letter would come in. Pastel pink, lavender, but that was just the beginning. When Ricky steps on stage, the explosion doesn't stop when he walks off. It echoes across the entire internet. Social media, it's like a fire alarm in a library full of easily offended cats.
Many talented people of colour were snubbed in major categories. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. The Hollywood foreign press are all very, very racist. So, 5th time. So, We were going to do an in memoriam this year, but when I saw the list of people that had died, it wasn't diverse enough. No. It was mostly white people. And I thought, nah, not on my watch.
Twitter exploded like a gender reveal party gone horribly wrong. Meanwhile, Ricky, presumably sipping tea while petting his rescue cat named Irony, was trending in 42 countries, gaining followers faster than a televangelist during an earthquake. And here's the wildest part. He didn't apologize. Not even a little. No corporate PR fluff. No, if anyone was offended, statement. Nothing. Instead, Ricky doubled down, tripled down. Somewhere, a publicist cried into a gluten-free muffin. He made it clear. If your belief system can't survive a joke, maybe it's not a belief system. Maybe it's just a subscription service with bad customer support. Ricky took the idea that truth must be pre-approved by a diversity committee and shredded it. Then, he danced on the pieces. But then the storm hit. Whoopi's fans rushed to defend her with their usual responses. He's punching down. He's being mean. This is why comedy is dead. Oh, the irony. Nothing screams intellectual superiority like being offended by a man telling jokes while wearing sneakers. Isn't it funny how the tolerant crowd turns into a torch-wielding mob the second someone points out their emperor's cartwheels in clown shoes? Ricky, he just held up the mirror. And the backlash? They shrieked like vampires at Sephora.
But that tweet sums comedy up, doesn't it? How subjective it is. How one person, some people can find them hilarious, some people find them the least funny person in the world. And when someone says to me about another comedian, they say, oh, they're not funny. Even if I agree with them, I stand up and I say, well, you can't say that. You've got to say, you don't find them funny, you know. And I hate it when people say, that joke was offensive. I say, no, you've got to say, you found it offensive. Because it's all about feelings, and feelings are personal. And there's loads of types of comedy, and comedy evolves, you know. There's a new type of comedy at the moment called woke comedy, right? No, it's very progressive, you know. There are some clubs now where the comedian has to sign a thing saying he won't say anything contentious or he won't say anything that could offend anyone. It's a safe space for the audience. Woke comedy. And I tried to watch a bit of it, and I decided I'd rather watch Louis C.K. masturbate.
But here's the twist. Deep down, even his harshest critics couldn't help but laugh. They'll never admit it, though. That would mean risking exile from the Church of Perpetual Outrage. But let's be real. Ricky says what they wish they could say, but can't, without the fear of being canceled, downvoted, or shunned from brunch. Why? Because the woke empire? It's built on eggshells. Delicate, fragile eggshells that shatter the moment someone dares to suggest sarcasm. And Ricky? He's stomping through it in size 12 sarcasm boots while whistling the theme song to The Office. Now let's talk about strategy. Most comedians today, they play it safe. Their sets are so sanitized, they could be aired on Sesame Street. But not Ricky. He doesn't just read the room, he sets it on fire, roasting marshmallows with the ashes. No tiptoeing around, no trigger warnings, no halfway speeches meant to please the crowd. Just pure, uncut British savage with a side of smugness. And, oh, the irony. The very same people who once worshipped Ricky for telling truth to power now clutch their pearls when that truth doesn't come with a progressive label. They adored him when he mocked billionaires at the Golden Globes, but when he turns the spotlight on their sacred cows, it's suddenly sacrilege.
You remember those jokes you used to have when we were kids, like doctor jokes, like, Doctor, I keep thinking I'm a pair of curtains. Well, pull yourself together then, right? I've done a woke version of that, brought it up to today's standards, right? So, bloke goes to the doctor. He goes, Doctor, I keep thinking I'm a pair of curtains. And the doctor goes, well, you are then.
Let's not fool ourselves. Whoopi Goldberg isn't some shrinking violet. She's dished it out for decades. But the moment someone serves her a spicy dish, suddenly it's problematic. Suddenly, Ricky is dangerous. As if sarcasm now qualifies as terrorism. And don't forget the post-show circus. Whole YouTube channels erupted overnight, dissecting every word like it was the Zapruder film. Experts, most of whom haven't cracked a joke since dial-up internet, sat around lecturing about responsible comedy. Imagine trying to assign a moral to punchlines. What's next? Sentencing knock-knock jokes in The Hague? Just when you thought the firestorm was out, Ricky threw in one last log. Drenched in sarcasm, soaked in gasoline. Because Ricky didn't just roast Whoopi, he deep-fried woke culture in front of millions and served it back with a side of British sass. salted, battered, wrapped in brutal honesty. Somewhere a vegan activist fainted. You could practically hear 1,000 think pieces forming in real time. Eyebrows were raised, Twitter fingers were triggered. A Harvard sociologist reportedly choked on his granola mid-scroll. Meanwhile, Ricky just sat back, smug as ever, letting the chaos marinate like a steak in satire sauce. But here's the twist. People loved it. We're talking full-on, red-faced, deep-bellied laughter from every corner of the internet. Finally, a release from stepping on conversational landmines. Nothing, and I mean nothing, feels better than watching someone obliterate the rulebook and walk away humming the tune of common sense. And now, the question falls squarely on your lap, dear viewer. Did Ricky go too far? Or did he not go far enough? Is it time to stop this hypersensitive, comedy-hating culture, to remember how to take a joke? Or should we sit quietly, afraid to say hello in case it's deemed verbal colonization? Let it rip in the comments, like Ricky rips into hypocrisy. Was Whoopi unfairly targeted, or did she walk into a buzzsaw wearing a roast me sign? Was it comedy or cruelty? Or plot twist? Was it the most honest moment daytime TV has seen in years? Either way, grab your popcorn. Because if this is what happens when Ricky Gervais walks into a room with a mic, imagine what happens when he gets bored and logs onto Twitter. Meanwhile, Whoopi continues her usual routine, delivering sage wisdom between commercials, occasionally scolding the nation like a disappointed aunt at Thanksgiving. And that's fine. Every empire needs its monarch. But if you're going to wear the crown, don't cry when the jester turns out to be smarter than the king. So, what did we learn?